Hi guys, this is Legendary Basil Games here. So I'm back at you with another video. So this video is going to be a discussion video and also an angry tirade of a list of complaints that I don't like about the Shadow Temple in Zelda Ocarina of Time. And people will say, oh, just don't play the Shadow Temple. Yeah, well, easier said than done. So I like video games and I like that game, so I've beaten that game probably 4 or 5 times now, and I am getting older, and now that I know that this is a thing, and YouTube is a thing, and making YouTube videos is a thing, because I'm like 26 years old right now, and I didn't originally make videos at all, so and I have been making videos for a little bit now, as you guys have seen, to try to keep my viewership engaged, because if my viewership was not engaged, then I should know about it, right? So I've been looking at the viewers, and apparently some of you guys like videos that are like mental health type of videos, or like game reviews, or like stuff like that, since it's listed under anyways. So I play video games all the time. I also need to inform you guys that I do sometimes work, so I work at a mental health place sometimes, where I used to, but I work pretty much in the same field now, without a degree. So I have a GED, or a high school diploma, and I am an advanced directive for someone that is very dear to me and important to me. So anyway, let's jump off the wagon or bandwagon or whatever and deal with this video and the explanation, and also explain how Link's mind may be affected when he sees the images in the Shadow Temple as a when you play Link, you are supposed to imagine yourself as Link, because that's the vibe that Nintendo was going for back in the day. So, and that's the vibe that they still go for most of the time. So, without further ado, we're going to introduce some mental health problems that Link may have because of seeing the things of the Shadow Temple and the bottom of the well. So, and all the execution things in there. That place is gross. Ugh. I don't like the Shadow Temple and stuff. So, I'm making this video because nobody's ever made a video like this before on the Shadow Temple, and never has made a list of complaints about the Shadow Temple, but also with things that they do like about the Shadow Temple, because it's really fucked up, because these characters in the games are like going through this, and like all this mental stuff that they have to go through, and basically the Shadow Temple is like the aftermath of some huge war, because we know, as far as canon, that during that time that there was a war going on with the Sheikah tribe and all the rest of the tribes, and the war was just barely over when Link was born, as far as the description goes and like stuff like that. Now, what I don't like about the Shadow Temple is pretty obvious, so I'm going to explain it. It's disgusting, it looks like garbage, and don't ever play it if you're under the age of 16 or 18. You're going to get the shit scared out of you. Especially if you got PTSD that is in relation to that kind of thing, don't do it. And also, don't do it also if you have really bad PTSD either. So, anyway, that's what I'm going to talk about. Mental health. Because I worked in a mental health facility for a lot of years. I was educated on the stuff that I did. to help people get over their things. And I have a little bit of experience in the field. So I've been doing this for like 8 years now. So when I go to a job, I go to a job, you know. So, and I'll be looking for work after this, because after this, I'm not going to have any money. So I'll be really poor. So, but anyways, what I'm getting at is that with the mind of Link, when he saw these things in the Shadow Temple, what must have been going through his mind as he was seeing all this, as he had to pick up the pieces after wars had been waged in that world. Because just like in the real world, the game world has war too. And if they tell you that they don't, then they're lying. So it's just a way to get the stuff marketed faster. So, but anyways, anyway, about that, yeah, so the Shadow Temple, I'm going to talk about it because of how PTSD affects war veterans, and also because a couple months ago it was Mental Health Month, and I kind of missed out on it because I was having a mental health crisis of my own. So, anyways, so the thing that Link would have had to been dealing with must have been horrible, absolutely horrible. And when I hear people talk about their PTSD, I say, I understand. I understand it very well, because although my PTSD may not be from war, my PTSD is from a bad childhood and being tortured for many years. And I also worked a lot of hours that I shouldn't have had to do. But other than that, that's probably the reason why Link has so many issues. Why he doesn't like to talk isn't just, maybe not even because of the reasons we think. Maybe he speaks another language. Maybe he speaks in Spanish. Maybe he speaks in another language other than that, like Japanese, because we know that Link was created in Japan and all of that. And sometimes, like, people will not talk when they come from a different country, because I've seen this on quite a few occasions, unless you can translate what they're saying and you can understand like a few words. But even if you don't speak the language, you can still pretty much tell they're pretty pissed off, even when they're not speaking in your language, because just by the tone of their voice, or like, for instance, you can tell like when they're shaking, like angrily or something of that matter. So yeah, so that's another thing, especially when they come from another country that is like war torn all the time and has a lot of poverty, like something like Russia, or something like Afghanistan, or people that live in Mexico, or like something like that, because technically where they're situated is literally they are living in the countries that are at the biggest and highest risk for these kind of problems. Here in America, we have a lot of problems, but not like they do. But still, their war does happen, and and from what I can tell, there are always wars going on somewhere. When I've watched on the news and I've observed like there's wars in different countries being waged every day, and people like to act like it never does happen. Well, truth is that it does. And what I specialize in is getting help for people that have trauma via my own experience from having PTSD. So, And it doesn't mean that I can't do my job effectively. It just means that I am more experienced than somebody else would be. So I have a certification somewhere that has something that says I worked in a custodian thing. Also, I have an advanced directive somewhere for somebody. I'm not going to say who it is because it's confidential. But, anyways, without that out of the way, also, I don't like it because the Shadow Temple, because the stupid music in there. I think it's stupid because I won't even unmute the TV, and if I'm playing it on Nintendo 3DS, God help me, because if I even hear the Shadow Temple theme when I'm playing a Nintendo 3DS, I feel like I'm gonna have a freaking panic attack or something like when I play that game. So, because actually it has less to do with the music as much as it's just the what the Shadow Temple stands for. And basically what it is an execution grounds. It's a temple. So, and to me it doesn't look like much of a temple. It just more looks like a prison to me. Like a giant state penitentiary. So, prison or jail or something, because they have cells and stuff. Or like where people would undergo some kind of a torture method. Because we know back then, in the Bible days, people were tortured like that in front of the public. I will tell you, because I read the Bible every single day. And I'll tell you what, some of that stuff is pretty darn brutal. So, yeah, that's one of the reasons. Those are a few of the reasons I don't like the Shadow Temple. And I also don't like it because of all the damn keys in there. Like, if you try to get a key or like something unlock the doors and stuff, then there's like, basically, if you guys think that the Water Temple is bad, then you guys should play the Shadow Temple, because the Shadow Temple, in my opinion, basically always backtracking and not being able to find a room, or like jumping onto a platform that you can't freaking see because you have to have the lens of truth, basically, because the lens of truth is like this tool that allows you to see hidden platforms that are covered. So it's an advanced thing, and people have said in the past that they think that maybe they have said that they think that the Sheikah clan does use technology, and they think that the lens of truth is because I've seen this in other videos too, and they say that that's probably a piece of technology. And that's what the Sheikah clan specializes in torturing and destroying their victims by breaking their mind and their body. So it's awful. And they are really good at their job. I wouldn't want to have that job. Because that's not my specialty. But like I said, it's part of my training. So when I go to work, I have to sit there and listen to these people that have they have PTSD and like they're war veterans, and be understanding and stuff for them. Because without me sitting there, or without someone like me sitting there, they probably wouldn't even go in the first place. People get nervous when they go in a place like that, and to advocate for these people. So, yeah, advanced directives and proxies, they advocate for different causes, but it's still advocating. So, then there's that, and then there's the fact that I don't like the Shadow Temple because of all the stupid hidden walls and like all the enemies that are like literally right in your way. And things like the skeletons that want to knock you off all the time, and the wall masters that were like want to pull you up like up by your arms and then take you right back to the beginning of the dungeon, and then they kill you off sometimes. It's like Nintendo knew what they were doing when they were making this game. They didn't care about the world. They basically did whatever they wanted with this game. This game was badass back in the day. So you guys ought to see the updated version, the 3D version. That's freaking awesome. And it looks like they fixed some of the graphical issues. So it looks better. It doesn't look as bad as it used to when they fixed the pictures. But it still looks bad all around. Because I still have PTSD from like that stuff. It's like really stupid, but I do. And then actually, I'm trying to think of whatever else I can talk about the Shadow Temple. Oh, there's also the fact that there's Bongo Bongo down there. I don't like that boss very much. I don't like him because it just feels like it's a very simple boss to beat that would otherwise normally be a lot easier to beat if it weren't for his invisible face and everything, invisible body and stuff. It's like, I don't like those kind of bosses because when you can't see where they're at and then they strike you, that's what I don't like about the Shadow Temple and Ocarina of Time and those kind of bosses. And then last but not least, about to conclude this video, because I don't know when my manager is going to walk in here. So, anyways, so about the Shadow Temple, one last piece of advice about it is that I do like the Sphinx boat, like with the really weird, like turning wheels that floats, because it's got like a cat face, and then it's like on a boat that has like, it's basically like a floating boat that is not even floating on, or it's floating but it's not in the water or anything. You guys have got to see it. It's sick as hell. So, but don't look at the actual game or the footage or anything. Just specifically look at the boat itself, what that model looks like. Basically, what the concept, I believe, is for the Shadow Temple. It's supposed to play off the premises of death, destruction, and the Well of Three Features. Everybody knows that well, or at least they should, especially if you're in the older generation like myself. The older adult generation anyways, and all of that. So, yeah, dark, scary, and narrow, and wet, damp, and smells like ass. So, yeah, basically that's the reason why I don't like it, because personally I have experience with that stuff. So, I will tell you from personal experience that when I was a kid, there were like these little bitty tiny kittens I went after under the house, and I pulled them out one by one. There was like 10 or 12 of them. I had to set them free, and I had to rescue them because my mom heard them underneath the house. She said, "Oh, what's that?" And my mom, she loves cats. Loves cats. The family, people like us, our family, and I really love cats too. So that's another thing, is that I really do like cats. And the reason for that being is because I grew up around them, and I grew up out in the country in Union City, and then I moved a couple of times. So, and then I moved to like Battle Creek, Michigan, and I moved out of there, 2 locations there. And Union City, I lived in several different locations because of the PTSD that took a toll on our family because of my dad's drinking habits, and smoking habits and addiction. But his father, my grandfather, he was actually a war veteran back in the day. And when he talked to you, sometimes he would get so frustrated he would stop speaking English. So our family has 4 generations of being in America. So we know what we're doing and stuff. So yeah, but what I'm getting at for this video is that that's another thing that war veterans have to deal with. They have to deal with an increased risk of homelessness, anxiety and panic attacks, and other cohabiting mental disorders, like you'll have, for instance, like somebody's bipolar, or you'll have somebody that just has anxiety or depression, or like substance abuse disorders because of all the stuff that they had to see in the war. And you know, substance abuse disorders, they fall into the category of smoking, drinking, or doing illegal drugs. So I got educated on all of that. So, and with all this being said, I think that this is a good video to put out there to raise awareness of people's mental conditions, that not everybody is stable like the world likes to think they are. And if you experience a mental health crisis and all of that, make sure to get yourself assisted. Do not wait on it, because I know that there are some people that can wait because they have more of a resilience to it. But to me, I think that it is important for everyone to do it. So yeah, that's why I'm making this video, because it's like a video that I think that should be made, and the whole vibe of the Shadow Temple just rubs me the wrong way because it's foreign and it looks like a pagan torture ground. That's what it looks like. It looks like a weird, messed up society because if you think of these things, you think about stuff like Gothic churches that where people cover their faces, wear all black robes, and you can't see their face or anything. So, yep, Satan worshippers. So Satan strikes it at the worst of times because he's an asshole in the spiritual world. And since he's basically one of the people that you don't ever want to deal with in the spiritual world. So, at least in the faith of Christianity. So that's another thing I wanted to bring up. And another thing I wanted to bring up is that, what else was I going to say? I'm getting hungry here. So, mouth is all dry again. So, anyways, yeah, that's another thing that they're at risk for. Plus, they're at risk for other mental health disorders like schizophrenia and autism. While it's not a direct cause, they are at higher risk for it. So, and just because they were hurt in the past because of that kind of thing, and not dealing with it, coping with it properly. So, yeah. But anyways, yeah, I'm living in a new location because I went through a really bad breakup with my ex-boyfriend. So, that's why I'm at a different location. So, and all that. Well, anyways, back to the story about the kittens that were under my mom's house when I was a kid. So when I was a kid, there was these kittens that got stuck underneath the house, And with that whole thing, I had to go underneath the house under a crawl space. And I crawled through there like several times to get them in and out. But don't ever get me near a crawl space now because I'm probably too big to fit. So, yeah, that's the reason why I don't really do that as much anymore. So, that, and I have skin conditions, and I have like other mental and physical ailments that would stop me from doing it anyway. Anyways, so that's my definitive answer of why I don't like the Shadow Temple. And it is sort of an angry tirade, but not too much. Just enough to show you guys as to why I hate the Shadow Temple. So click that like button, click the subscribe button, click that notifications bell, comment on the video, follow me on my social media, DeviantArt, all my stuff, and all of that, so we can make more videos like this. And if you like this, let me know. Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you guys. Signing out.